welcome to this week's DawgHouse Radio Supercross Power Rankings. They just finished round 15 out there in Santa Clara, out in California.
Wrapped up the West.
Wrapped up the West. The West is done. So we're going to start with our 250s. Well, our 250 Power Rankings, which does combine both East and West. So it is a little bit of our... But we do have a panel of people that vote on this each week. We never mentioned that before. I should say that we do. We definitely thank everybody that does vote in on it. Of course, all of us here on the show, and we got a couple outside people. This week, we kind of saw some variety of picks with people. Jeremy Martin got a couple votes, but did not make the top five. Our top five was in fifth place, Savachi, who's been having a very good season. He's out of the East. We get to see him race again this week. Our fourth spot was Makaroth out of the West, who's been coming on strong of late. I think we're all kind of hot on him. Third spot was Bogle out of the East. Then Musquin in second out of the East, and Cooper Webb out of the West, who's
and then that's where I disagreed with just about everybody on the rankings.
Actually,
I didn't
that's
see,
okay. You have a right to be wrong.
You do have a right to be wrong.
I still put Musquin over Webb. I mean, I didn't see anything that Webb did in these last two races that gave me the indication that he's superior to Musquin.
Really?
Did
you not see Webb go through an entire field of people after a wreck to win a race?
Yeah, and he also...
Musquin's run through a field as well, coming off of a bad hole shot or
Webb's
something.
got 4 straight wins, Musquin doesn't.
But Musquin didn't lose a race.
Yes, he did.
Or if he did, it was 1.
He lost 2, but in the last 4 races, and that's kind of where I went to decide it. Musquin's got a 1-race win streak, and Webb got a 4. And it's hard to argue a guy who doesn't lose.
Right.
We won't know. To be honest with you, both Musquin and Webb got the same amount of first place votes. So they actually ended up statistically tied.
Yes.
And the tiebreaker, of course, goes in favor of who I voted for. I used a little bit of formula to break the tie and stuff, and it was definitely tough. And I think everybody's argument that we'll know in Las Vegas who really is number one in 250s, and until then, I don't think you do know.
Perhaps.
I mean, Webb did do a great job this week.
Yeah, perhaps.
And a race he didn't have to worry about.
Yeah, I think Warren's trying to make the argument that Musquin had to deal with a tougher field to deal with.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah,
we kind of talked about that during the regular show.
Right, and I think I think there's some truth to that, but I think the other part of it is that Cooper Webb has been way more dominant in his races than Musquin's been. Musquin's won some races that it's been close to the end. Cooper Webb has been dominant, and look,
actually, they got the same amount of wins.
They do have the same amount of wins,
but actually, if you go numbers, just numbers, and I'm a numbers guy,
right?
Musquin's 2 non-wins were seconds, and Webb's had a second, and 14 points would have been what, a
fifth?
No, fifth is it goes 25, 22, 20, 18, 16 would have been a 7th.
Okay.
So that was the first race of the season in Anaheim.
Right.
So statistically, number-wise, Musquin did have a better season. The last couple weeks, though, Webb looks like a better rider.
Yeah, so that's the recency effect you're looking at. You've seen him, you like him.
Well, these are power rankings, so power rankings doesn't matter. Power rankings doesn't count. The power rankings doesn't really affect what you did a month and a half or 2 months ago.
I mean, but you have to in this case because
they're so tied.
Two groups. You have to look at it's been 3 weeks since they ran an East race.
Yeah. Right.
But you want East people in here,
right? But we were talking about what Cooper Webb did in Anaheim in the first race of the season.
Right. I mean, that just shows you how tight
But that's meaningless at this point.
Yeah, I agree, right. And that just shows you how tight those two guys are.
If you compare Musquin's last 3 races and Webb's last 3 races,
Webb. I mean Webb.
I think Webb hands down, and that's really I think what's most in power rankings makes the most sense.
I went with Muskin because I thought the field that he has to deal with is superior to the people that Webb is racing.
Okay, well,
That's just that's the way I went.
We respect your opinion. We just disagree.
Yeah, we it's okay. No, but other than that, I mean, Bogle was a pretty solid vote for everybody.
Yeah,
McElroth. Some of us liked, some of us didn't.
How come we don't have a number 3 pick for Warren?
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
He did have Bogle. I just didn't type it in. That I was going to not put Warren in, and that was going to be the tiebreaker.
Right.
No, I was just kidding on that. So our top 5, I'll just repeat again, and then we'll move on to the 450s. Number 1 spot, Webb. Number 2, Musquin. Number 3, Bogle. 4, McElroth. 5, Savacci. And I got to expect at least 3 of those guys move up next season.
Okay.
I think Webb, Musquin, and Bogle all move up.
I think at least 2 of them will. I don't know if the third will. I don't know about Bogle.
Well, Bogle was the East champion last year.
Yes.
And
that's what I think hurts him this year.
Well, I was surprised he didn't move up on the Geico Honda.
I was going to say, he didn't move up this year, so.
Right. And that hurts him because you go from being the East champions to not even being the, you're talking about being the runner-up, right, at best, so.
Yeah, but I think there might be a couple more good ride opens this year.
Perhaps.
So that's kind of my thoughts.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they always say it's the year you win the championship, you want to move up.
Yes.
That's when it is because you never know.
That's when you look the best.
Well, that's when, and you could be injured the next year, and you might have missed your one opportunity.
And extra canard.
Exactly.
The injuries can be a drag.
Right.
So moving on to the 450s, obviously they run the full season. So they're 15 races into this now. Guys who did receive some votes but didn't break the top 5 were Baggett, Short, and Anderson. Mm-hmm. I think we were all pretty high on those guys. Our top 5 in the 5 spot, Weston Pike, who a couple years ago, man, we were talking he was unsponsored, and look at that kid go racing for 10th and stuff.
Right.
Now he's racing for the big boy points. Mm-hmm. Chad Reed rolled in our 4th spot with pretty much everybody but one person giving him some kind of points.
And I'm a big Chad Reed fan, and I gave him no points, and the reason that I didn't give him any points is he seems to find a way to throw it away.
Yes, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But
you can't win races when you wreck yourself.
Yeah, and he has been doing that. He's had a tendency to do that this year. And that kind of has been, that's not what Chad Reed normally does.
Right.
So I agree with that. But over the last couple races, he's been pretty strong.
Yeah, for me, this is picking these guys really from third down. At least from fourth down, because I can still see Seeley being a good solid third of who is remaining. But you still have guys who haven't ridden in months still in the top 10 in points.
Right.
So that means these guys are struggling just to make up where they were, and so it's hard for me to say that out of the survivors that these guys are any better, but they are at least surviving.
Yeah,
and are still riding.
Yeah, so but I don't think that's affecting our power rankings.
No,
and at least I don't see any of the guys in the top 5 whose position would have been threatened with some of those guys that have been out. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
I think
I don't know
Kennard and Roxon were still running.
The thing about it is I wouldn't have Reed in there in the first place. So that Reed would be somebody that might be affected by that. Pike might be affected by that. I don't believe that Dungey, Tomac, and Seeley have been affected by that.
No, I think our top 3, and those are our top 3. Seeley in 3 spot, Dungey in the 1 spot, Tomac in the 2.
And Seeley's a rookie, which is really looking out of the 3 big rookies that are running this year. He's looking really good.
He's strong. He's strong. Everybody knew that when he moved out of the 250s. Everybody knew
he was going to be somebody.
He was going to be successful in the 450s.
And he's having a bang up season.
Dungey's the easy one, right?
Yeah, Dungey's the easy. I mean, was unanimous.
How can Dungey not be your top pick?
I mean, he's got like 100-point lead in the points and stuff like that. I mean, just
he's done.
Dominant.
And he's done. He's already won the championship.
And Tomac, the last 3 races has been, the last 4 races has been on a bit of a hot streak. He's finished on the podium the last 4 races.
Mm-hmm.
His problem is so I mean that's why he got into our number 2 spot because he's been on a hot streak. The problem is
you can't pass Dungey.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, that's a big. There's not many people that can. The big problem is there's still 2 more races, and he could throw out a whopper.
Yeah, he absolutely could.
And that seems to be his tendency. It's like 2-3 races good, miserable. Two,
Yeah.
3 races, good,
Right.
miserable. Now he's 4, he's overdue.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I think at this point you still got to give him that second spot.
Oh yeah, I don't think I
deserves
think
it.
he definitely deserves that. So that wraps it up for this week after round 15, which was Santa Clara. Next week they'll be in New Jersey. We'll do another power rankings after that. See if our minds change about anything. I don't know if they will though.
I don't know if they will either. Maybe in the 250s perhaps.
Yeah,
250s.
it'll definitely change for you guys because you'll see Muskin and you'll vote him
I love
first
the
again.
trash talk.
Yeah, really.
So that wraps this up, and we'll come back and like I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give us follows, share the video. Thanks a lot, folks.